Alright, what's going on, guys? Your man George, and here I am today with my man Archie, who is nice enough once again to show us one of these brand new Begode wheels, the EX30. Now, you guys know I've been super hyped up about the EX30. I ride the EX20, and this is just a direct upgrade. It's got more power, more torque. It's a little bit more refined, hopefully. We'll take a look at it and see. But there's definitely some features on this wheel that were much needed on the EX20. So I think anybody who is an EX20 fan, this has got to be on your radar. What the fuck is this ugly thing you brought out to me to see today?
Hey!
What the hell did you do?
You listen.
Beautiful EX30.
Listen, another edition of the UWE, Ugly Wheel Enterprises. Okay.
Ugly Wheel Enterprises.
Archie
Look
made
at
it.
all this shit stuck all over it.
Okay, but this is so easy to remove, and it still holds because the stock pads, they don't really stick. There's nothing. Even if you use a hot glue.
Yeah, the EX30 had a mounting plate right here.
Right.
There's nothing on this.
Right.
There's
so
just...
no. So you have the standard two boxes like Master, the Master Pro. Then you have that channel for the suspension. The new, you can see that if you compare that to your old wheel, maybe you might want to take it out. The boxes are a little bit different. The ribbing is a little bit different.
A little more aggressive. It looks
But
like.
nothing sticks to it. Even hot glue, when you put a hot glue on it, and I'm talking about industrial grade or heavy duty, it doesn't stick on it. It just comes right off.
Yeah, it definitely feels more aggressive than the EX30.
So I'm sure they have some kind of coating on it. The only way to do it, as Jason suggested, maybe make something that could be attached to those three bolts and then run down. Probably some protectors on it. I like that they have these handles here.
Oh yeah, look at that. The handles are
and in
nice.
here, so
that was one of the things really missing from the EX20.
Absolutely, and it's missing on any of the other wheels. Master Pro 2 doesn't have any of that, right? So you have nothing to grab that wheel, and maybe you don't even grab the wheel.
Yeah, no, I would definitely, you know what? I would probably mount the pads up here.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, do something. I could make some kind of TPU.
Absolutely.
And probably even use these screws.
Exactly. And one more thing before you go, because you will never see this when you're riding. So there was a complaint that the lights are always green and blue and all these colors on the other wheels. So no, this one is actually blue only when it's stationary, but when you're moving, it's red. And then when you're tilting, it will show the direction where it's going.
Oh, cool.
So it has that effect, right? And then if you go a little bit forward, right?
Oh yeah, look.
And if you go
pretending it's turning,
pretending it's turning,
All right, here we go, brother and sister, right next to each other. So actually, looking at it now, these pads on mine are pretty much the same height as the chassis on this, so I think you could figure out how to mount some pads here, no problem.
The light is pretty good. It's not anything amazing, but it's compared to like the new T4 I have seen, pretty much the same brightness.
Yeah, I mean, it just looks better because there's definitely metal case. I know they said they put like the conical directionals on there as opposed to just being open.
Yeah, it's okay. I mean, it's not really. Again, you're talking to a guy that loves a lot of light.
You guys, I can't do justice to Archie's lights on camera. You have to see it in person. This man is like a freaking construction site.
The one thing I do like is, I was never a big fan of this tire, and when I had this tire on the XM, it was really difficult for me to ride with it. Even you try it because you've been on it. It wasn't the best. It's okay tire, but it's not the best.
It's good for off-road. It's not really an off-road wheel.
Because this one has a wider rim, it just feels a little bit different.
Yeah.
Okay, it just feels a little bit more stable, especially at the corners. So, go take it for the spin, and don't break it, of course, because you're gonna buy it anyway. That's why it was.
He knows me too well. I probably am gonna end up buying this thing. I gotta take all that ugly foam off of it though.
No, I had people telling me that they would prefer this over the Master. The only thing is that because it's not as tall as the Master, right? The Master is super high, super tall. Probably more ideal for the off-road. But once you're gonna be riding on it, you're gonna feel that it's not as heavy as you would think that it could be, because the motor is so powerful, it just doesn't have that sluggishness.
So the one big thing I've seen negative in reviews is that the bottom here is squared out instead of cut like this. But honestly, looking at it, I don't really see it being a big issue unless you're gonna climb a mountain. Like, they look like the pedal heights are just about the same. And I haven't had any issues at all with the EX20. And it's so close to the tire. I mean, look at how close it is to the tire. For you to hit that, I mean, you really got to be going
You
up
would
something.
have to go to narrow like a gap between two rocks and hit it hard. And if you do that, well, you might as well hit it with any of these.
Yeah,
you know?
It's the same. The pedal hangers, you're right, are pretty much the exact same design there. All right, another differentiator are the new pedals that Begode has here, which I think I'm a fan of. They're definitely a lot lighter and skinnier. You can see these ones are much thicker than these ones. People have said that these are much lighter. I think the way you can tell the difference, you got 1, 2, 3.5 honeycombs compared to 1, 2, 3, 4 full honeycombs.
Are you saying that the Chinese ran out of aluminum and that's why we have a lighter pedals?
I think they ran out of aluminum.
Aluminum.
No more Chinesium.
No more Chinesium. Aluminum or aluminium? You pick your horse in this.
All right, here we go, hopping on the EX30 for the first time, and I can tell you immediately, it's way torquier than the EX20. I mean, this thing is definitely, I can just feel the power. You know, I'm not gonna be doing anything crazy with it today. It's this is not a personal wheel of Archie's. This is a wheel he purchased for somebody else. So they're just waiting to pick it up. He keeps telling me it's me, and it might be as soon as I get some money. But unfortunately, I just don't have the funding for it right now. All right, so the EX30, this thing feels nice. It's very nimble, extremely nimble, especially considering it's a 3,600 watt-hour wheel. The tire on it, it's that same knobby CST that came on the EX20. Not a huge fan, but it actually feels better on this wheel than it did on the EX20. It's got, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the wider rim. Something about it is definitely a lot more playful. Way more playful than it was on the EX20. On the EX20, it was either straight up and down, or else you're lifting a 100-pound wheel, holding it up with your shins. On this wheel, it definitely feels a lot more like a Sherman, honestly. Yeah, I would even go as far to say as I wouldn't feel like I had to instantly change the tire on this like I did with the EX20. When I got that EX20, after switching the tire, I would suggest immediately changing it to a street tire. This, I actually feel like this tire is actually okay. I would probably keep this tire on it, honestly. The suspension on it definitely feels just like the T4, honestly, and that's what we were told when they first released this, was that the geometry was going to be the same as the T4. It's basically the exact same design. So it's not quite as cush as like the Master Pro. The Master Pro suspension definitely feels a little bit more soft. Part of that's probably because of the weight. And also I haven't dialed it in at all. I literally just put 250 pounds of pressure in it and I'm off and riding. I love these pedals though. They feel just like their original Begode pedals, but like I said, they're thinner, lighter. They might have a slightly larger footprint. I can't tell if the footprint's exactly the same, but I do like them a lot. I do think I will be ordering a pair of these to put on my T4. Oh baby. So I just swapped this thing into medium mode, and let me tell you, chef's kiss. Beautiful. Yeah, in medium mode, this thing really unlocks its true power. And that's how I ride my EX20, so it shouldn't really be that surprising. The instant torque you get from this is very similar to the Masters. where it just zips. Yeah, guys, if you are in the EX20 gang already, the EX30 is the upgrade for you. I am almost certainly going to be getting one of these wheels as soon as I can figure out how to generate the funds to do so. I'm in love. I'm in love. Especially because I got to say, the one thing that the EX20 is lacking is just that torque. The low-end torque isn't that great. The off-the-line torque isn't that great. And this wheel gives you the form factor of the EX20. It should give me very similar range, but it just has so much more power. That 134 volts makes all the difference. Yes, the suspension on this thing feels good. It feels a lot like the T4. It's not as plush as my EX20, the Sherman S, even the Master Pro I really thought was a really plush suspension when I rode it. But then again, I've done absolutely zero tuning to this thing. I just threw 250 pounds in it and off to the races we go. So I'm sure if I had, you know, if it was mine, I had time to really fine tune it. You know, the shock, the rebound, get some lube up in there, maybe put an aftermarket shark. You guys know, really not a fan of the Begode shocks. Probably make this thing feel really, really nice. And like I said, as is, it feels good, feels great, definitely does the job. Feels a lot like the T4. Yeah, I think at the end of the day, this is absolutely worth the upgrade for people who are coming from an EX20, coming from looking for their first long-range street wheel. I think it's worth it. This thing is powerful. I mean, I've heard so far stories of people who ride their Master and say it feels a lot like it, but with a lower pedal height, which just gives you a lot more stability on the street, giving you a little bit more connected to the ground. I think that's something a lot of people are looking for, is a wheel that feels like the Master, lower pedal height, and has a much bigger battery, so you're not going to be worried about the voltage sag that you do get on a little 4P wheel like the Master. The EX30 here is a 6P configuration, so it's a 134 volt 6P battery. So you're actually, even with the Samsung 50E cells, this is a wheel capable of producing 60 amps on a continuous basis at a very safe level. So one of the problems that the Master has is because it's a 4P battery, with the Samsung 50E cells, which are the longer range cells, it's really only capable of generating 40 amps current at a time, which with a 134 volt system is still pretty good. That's like what, 5,000 some odd watts continuous output. But for people who are really chasing the performance, looking for a racing style wheel, it's just a little bit on the light side for what those batteries are safely capable of producing, and you're going to run into some serious voltage sag trying to ride them in a performance style. That's why you see people chasing the Moly cell P42A and the 40T cells. For the Masters, they're much higher amperage ratings, so at a 4 parallel configuration, they're able to produce amps at a much higher level, much safer. So one of the benefits that the EX30 has is because it is a 6P configuration, you're actually able to generate 60 amps continuous output with the Samsung 50E cells, which are the high range cells. So you're able to generate 8,000 watts continuously with the longer range cells, which is a much safer operating level for a high performance wheel. So I don't think you're going to see many, if any, problems here with the EX30, with the Samsung 50E cells in it. It's a huge advantage that the EX30 has over a wheel like the Master. I mean, granted, you're going to get better range anyway, but being able to use the higher range cells and still get that crazy performance boost, it's a big deal. Yeah, I did actually try to sell the EX20 because I wanted to upgrade to this EX30. Unfortunately, I timed the market terribly, absolutely horrible, because I put it on sale just as the Alien Rides Black Friday sale went up, which everyone knows was a huge deal for the community. Everybody was buying these wheels crazy cheap. They actually were selling the EX20 brand new for $2,700. I was asking $2,600 for my EX20, so obviously I didn't get any biters there, even though I do have a lot of upgrades on my wheel. It also has well over 3,000 miles on it, so unfortunately I wasn't able to sell it. I don't think I'm going to sell it for the prices that I'm realistically able to get. It's just not worth selling. It would just be too big of a gap between that wheel and the EX30 price for me to justify selling a wheel that I love so much. I love the EX20. And like I talked about, I want to eventually make a custom unicycle. And part of that is using the EX20 frame. And getting just the frame alone is about $800. So realistically, at that point, between having the motor and the batteries and the frame, it's just not worth selling. So I'm going to be holding on to the EX20. So it's going to be a while before I have the opportunity to upgrade to this EX30. But speaking of the custom unicycle project, I just wanted to give a quick shout out to all you guys who have used the Alien Rides promotional link to support me and the channel. Absolutely amazing. Thank you guys so much for chipping in and doing that for me. Honestly, it's been way more successful than I ever imagined it would be. We've dumped most of those funds into the e-bike project so far, which I'm hoping to have up and running here in the next 2 weeks. So thanks again. I really appreciate it. Keep supporting the channel so that we can continue working on these fun projects. Once the e-bike is done, we're probably going to start working on assembling the parts for our custom unicycle. So be on the lookout for that. I'm really excited to start that project. I know you guys are going to want to see every step of the way on the unicycle. So stay tuned to the channel for that. Like and subscribe. Why not, right? All right, Archie, you convinced me. $200 cash right now. I'll take it.
Okay. Is that how much you're selling your EX24? Okay, all right, I'll give it to you. How do you want it? So you like it?
I love it.
You love it. I knew that you will love it.
All right, guys. Well, let's say a big thank you to my man Archie for letting us come try this wheel.
Guy. We love him.
Absolutely love the EX30.
We love him the most, even though he talks a lot.
Talky. Blah, blah, blah. That's what I'm good at. That's what I do.
No, but yeah. We love him in the community because he's not just about himself. Take it out.
We try. You know, we got to try and do things for everybody. I mean, the Boston community is huge. The Providence community is growing. And honestly, it's all about all the PEVs. You see, so many people are getting into the e-bikes, the scooters, the e-skates. It's just becoming a bigger and bigger hobby. So whatever we can do to help promote people into getting into the PEVs, it's good for all of us.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for watching another episode. It's been great having you. I really appreciate it, as always. So like and subscribe to the video if you haven't already. And until next time, ride safe.